So you're setting up the UCM. You just got your trunks configured and you try sending an inbound test call. Nothing happens. You may have skipped on the step called inbound routes. If this sounds like you, don't worry. We at Grandstream got you covered. Hello and welcome, it's me Nathan, your friendly neighborhood support engineer. Welcome to another Grandstream Tutorials. In today's video, we're going to be talking about inbound routes. What is an inbound route? Quite simply, it's what our PBX uses to route incoming calls from one of your preferred trunking methods. It could be a VoIP trunk, analog line, PRI. They all operate underneath the same premise. It's going to look at the DID or direct inward dialing number, and from that number it's going to make a decision on where it should be routed. Could be a ring group, voicemail group, even call queue. It really doesn't matter. As long as you know what the concept of the DID is, we can go ahead and get started. For this tutorial, you'll need one, a Grandstream PBX. In my example, I will be using a UCM 6202 on firmware 1.0.16.19. 2, any VoIP trunk, either registered or peered. 3, we'll also need some registered endpoints to send the call to for testing. I have a GXP 1760 and a GXP 1625. As always, I recommend that you stay up to date on the latest firmware for both UCM and phones. So here we are, just logged in the UCM. One thing we want to do before moving forward with inbound routes, obviously we want to make sure that our VoIP trunk is reachable here. I have mine in blue. Another thing is we want some registered endpoints. There's nothing like trying to set up inbound routes and you have nothing to call. So I got a CEO at extension 1000. I even have my service department team, which is Tim, Bob, and Nate. I also have 1005, which is registered to another phone you won't be seeing because I'll be changing inbound multiple modes with that. But with that being said, let's go ahead and dive into some of the customer requirements. Obviously, we need a good scenario. And I got one really good for you guys that's going to test everything within inbound routes. So you guys are going to get a lot of information punched exercises here. So first off, this company provides customer services and they have, a call group, which is going to be Tim, Bob, and Nate. Their main number is going to be 909-555-1234, and their CEO is going to have his own direct line, which is going to be at 909-555-4321. Both of these DIDs, or direct inward dialing numbers, are going to be ported in on the same trunk. So we're only going to be working with one trunk. We're going to create an out-of-office destination that goes to a voicemail group. So when the system's not within operating hours, we're actually going to go cut to a voicemail group after hours. They're also going to want to set a specific time for in-office hours, which is going to be from 8 to 1700. And there's a reason why I do that, and you'll see that in a bit. Our number 4 customer requirement, the CEO is going to have his phone ring differently on his direct line. So we're going to actually use alert info to actually change your ringtones on the phone. We can do this all through inbound routes. And we're also going to up that scale a little bit. We have the CEO's wife who may call in from time to time, and we want to make sure that when she calls in, her caller ID, which is 909-555-4000, will be routed directly to his extension. And as an added bonus, we'll even make sure that she rings differently as well. So in total, the CEO is going to have 3 different ringtones: main number, direct DID number, as well as when his wife calls in, she'll also ring differently. We're also going to allow our services group to dynamically change their route. Let's say they cannot come into the office. Something goes horribly wrong. They end up getting impacted by a snowstorm, whatever it happens. We'll make sure that when they switch over to their mode 1, they're going to get a new answering service through an external provider. And that number is going to be 909-555-0911. Let's move forward to our inbound routes page. Now here we can see what trunk we are actually going to be editing an inbound route for. Conveniently enough, it's on the VoIP trunk. I do have an analog trunk, but we're not going to worry about that just yet. I'm going to click add, and here we go. We're going to set up our first inbound route. This is going to be super simplistic, and I'm only going to set this up to find out how my DID is actually coming inward onto the system. With that being said, I'm going to use X period here. I'm also going to do one extra step and add plus X period. There are some providers that will send a plus in their DID, and if you don't know that, you'll end up having a headache at the end of the day because you didn't know that. I'm going to send this to an extension closest to me, 1005. And with that being done, this is your basic. This is your catch-all statement, just trying to test inbound routes to see if they work at all. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. I'm going to apply changes. I'm going to call both known DIDs. So I'm going to call my main number, 909-555-1234. Perfect, I can see that ring in my phone. I'm going to go ahead and hang that up. Now from that same outside caller, I'm actually going to call the CEO's number, 909-555-4321. There we go, came in clear as day. Now that I have that established, I need to verify how that DID is coming inward. We've already made those test calls, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to navigate to the CDR, click CDR, and we can see it right here. We can see the two header right here. It's showing up as 4321. That was the last call we made. The first call we made was for 1234. So we know that this is working. And now we can go back to our inbound routes and actually specify exactly how it's coming across as. Just 909 and the phone number. Going to edit this, and I'm going to specify it, and I'm going to refer back to our customer requirements here. I'm going to actually set up the main number. So we're going to go ahead and enter the main number, 555-1234. And just before we continue, I'm going to talk about these patterns. Now, these patterns consist of X, Y, Z, and N, and some other special characters. You can even specify the DID like I'm doing in this example, but for the most part, when in doubt, just use X period or plus X period just to find out what's going on. You could even just use 7X's, 10X's, 11X's. It really doesn't matter. But you know, if we have multiple VoIP trunks, we might want to be a little bit more careful how we specify the direct inward dialing number. And I'm being pretty safe by doing it this way. If you want, you can do the variables, the 7-digit, the area code and the number, and also one area code and the number. It's not likely that your VoIP provider is going to be switching that on you, or they shouldn't anyways. We have the option to disable a route. We can pre-pin the trunk name and the CNAME header. So let's say we got an inbound call from this. We can actually pre-pin the trunk name on the CNAME field when you're receiving the calls on the extension. So you can tell what trunk it's coming in on. This is perfect for a multi-business environment. We do have our inbound multiple modes, which we're going to go over. We're also going to go over alert info, which will help us change ringtones. We can whitelist selected extensions to allow for seamless transfer. But beyond that, let's go ahead. Let's check our customer requirements. So 2, we're going to create a voicemail group out of office. I'm actually going to make our out of office time our default destination. This will keep me from having to specify more than 2 specific times for when I create a time condition. And I'll show you what I'm talking about here. So I'm going to make this our out of office time, and it's going to go to a voicemail group, and the voicemail group is going to be services. From there, since I already have my out of office destination set, I'm going to create my time condition. And we do have a list of specified times that you can pre-program in the PBX and PBX settings. I'm not going to do that here. That could be done separately. It's pretty straightforward. I'm actually just going to run with a specific time here. And pretty straightforward. During this specific time, where should our destination be? Obviously, no, we're doing this for in hours or in office. In office, we're actually going to ring the service group. and they're going to be taking calls during that time. From here, I'm going to specify their working hours, which is from 8 o'clock to 1700. Now, as you can see, we can only specify a 2400-hour period. That's why it's a little bit more efficient to use a default destination as your out-of-office time. Then you only have to specify one time for your in-office hours. It just cleans things up and makes things really nice. We could even select the weeks in which they are in office, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We can exclude holidays. We can go into the advanced settings and actually go into what days of the month that we want to choose. Do we want to exclude certain days of the month or not? We can do that from here, but we're not going to go that far into it. We're going to go ahead and hit save on the time condition. There we can see it right there. Super easy to verify what the time is. I'm going to go ahead and click save and apply changes. Now if you follow the logic here, right now we're still all operating in default mode, but we do have our voicemail group set for the default destination. That's out of office, but then for a time condition, as said before, they're going to be in office. So this works out perfectly for us. I'm going to be the outside caller. I'm going to make sure we start hitting those 3 phones that we set up. 555, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to dial. Perfect. All 3 of them are ringing. So we tested that. Our time condition is working. Now let's go ahead and set up the CEO's main number. So we're just going to click add again. It's going to be pretty straightforward. 909 555 4321. Super easy. But we're going to add one little extra twist on here. We're actually going to make sure that if the CEO receives a phone call on his direct inbound route, we're going to push a special alert info here that will actually help him have his phone ring differently anytime he gets a call on this. So we could use some of the predetermined options here. This is great for our video phones if you want to do that. My favorite method with the GXPs is using the custom because then I can specify whatever I want here. So I'm actually going to specify as CEO, all capitals, and this is case sensitive, by the way, so if it doesn't match on the phone, it's not going to work. From there, since we know this is the CEO's number, we're going to route it directly to his extension. And as always, you can create time conditions for this. Maybe he doesn't want to get ring all 24/7. You never know. So we'll go ahead and save that. Apply changes. All right, since we tagged that alert info, that's only 1/2 of the step into creating a custom ringtone based upon a route. There's one extra step that we have to do. Now that we have our alert info set as CEO, we're going to navigate to the phone. I'm going to log into the CEO's phone. And we're going to go to Accounts and Call Settings. And in the call settings, I've already done this for you guys so we can shorten the video a little bit, but I've already added the alert info for CEO, and I have it set to custom ringtone 1. So when I call his phone, it's going to ring differently based upon that call info. I don't need to apply changes because I've already done that beforehand. And I'm going to call his extension. 909 555 4321. When I dial, we hear a much different ringtone. Perfect. Works right off the bat. Short and simple. Now, as one extra step that we're going to take, we also have the possibility that his wife could call. And when his wife calls, we want to make sure that she is high priority here. She's even going to get her own ringtone, so we're going to go over that again. So I'm actually going to create a new route this time so we can specify her caller ID. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add both DIDs in this field. And 909 4321. Boom. So I actually have both DIDs on this pattern, except the only difference with this route is we're actually going to put a caller ID in here. And her caller ID was 909 555 4000. And that's simply it. This is another case where you might want to check to see how her caller ID is going to show up. I already know it beforehand, you know where to check that in the CDR. So we're going to be pretty good from there. And we are going to push out a different alert info here. I named it wife. There we go. I'm going to send this over to the CEO's extension at 1000, and we are going to save that change. All right, now I'm actually going to call as the CEO's wife this time, and I'm going to call his direct number, and I'm also going to call the main number and make sure that we get routed to his extension every time, and also have that alert info being tagged. Now, before I call out, let me just verify. There we go, there's our alert info, so that is there and it should work. And obviously it's going to have a different ringtone entirely. Let's go ahead and call. I'm going to call his direct number first. 555-4321. Dial. Different ringtone entirely. Perfect. And now I'm going to call the main number, just in case. 909-555-1234. And as always, the alert info comes in and rings that phone accordingly. That CEO knows that if that's the ringtone playing, that's his wife calling him. He should pay very close attention to that. Now we basically have all the steps done here. We're missing one thing. So what if that snowstorm happens? We need to make sure that we can allow anyone on the PBX to dynamically switch their routes. We're going to do this with inbound multiple mode, and we're going to actually edit the main phone number in order to do this, because that's going to be the one that most likely people are going to be calling in on. Now, before I actually go in and edit this inbound route, I'm going to pause for a second and verify where we can enable inbound multiple mode. So if you see this, settings global, set global inbound multiple mode, I'm going to click on that. As you can see, I've already enabled it beforehand. I forgot to deactivate this, but it will be deactivated. You'll have to make sure that you enable this. As you can see, our default mode is going to be *61, and our mode 1, which is going to be our second route, is going to be *62. We could even say what is our default mode. And right now it's currently default, which is *61, but we're not going to worry about that. We already have that enabled. Let's go back over here, and for the main number, we're going to actually edit inbound multiple mode. So I'm going to enable it here. Once it's enabled, it allows me to switch over to mode 1. Now here's where we can set up the default destination and more time conditions if we really wanted to. But like I said, this is going to be an emergency call, and I even created a special custom prompt for you guys to even hear and listen to that. So this is going to go directly to an external number, and if you guys remember what the external emergency number was, it was 909-555-0911. I'm going to go ahead and save and apply changes. So currently, mode 1 is not active. So if I actually called as an outside caller, the main number, nothing would really much happen except it going to the ring group. But if I want to actually change this route, I'm going to reference that global inbound multiple mode, and I want to switch it to mode 1, which is going to be *62, and I'm going to do that from my extension 1005. *62, and it will confirm for us.
Set success.
Perfect. So we know that that's set, and look, we can already see that mode 1 is taking precedence in here. Now, even though that our other routes do not have a mode 1, nor did we even set one, it's still going to go to the default destination. So you're not going to have to worry about setting all modes for everyone. If they don't have a mode 1, they're just going to stay at their default. But let's go ahead and be that outside caller, and when we call the main number, we should get their emergency service answering service. So outside caller, I'm going to dial 909-555-1234, and what do we hear?
Sorry, but our office is currently experiencing emergency situation. Please hold on while we forward you to the next available agent.
Perfect. So what just happened is we had an inbound call come in, mode 1 was initiated, and we went right back out to the trunk into our emergency answering service. So we called it a snow day. Let's go ahead and disable mode 1 and set it back. So we're going to do *61, dial.
Set success.
Boom. There we go. Now we're back in default mode. From there, we have completed all the customer requirements. And just to give a general overview, let's go ahead and edit this trunk. I think I went over basically everything previously, prepend trunk name, disable route, and all that stuff. But that's inbound routes in a nutshell. Obviously, we're going to get into more videos of the call features, but that's going to be something that we're going to do in the future. Beyond that, we're all set. Thanks for watching our inbound route video tutorial. I know it was a long one, but it was packed with a lot of techniques and tricks to make any customer happy. We went over how to route calls by DID and caller ID. We even learned how to create time conditions, change ringtone based upon inbound routes, and we even went as far as being able to have our extensions dynamically change our routes using inbound multiple mode. If you feel this video was helpful, feel free to smash that like button, leave a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel to receive the latest video tutorials. With that being said, my name's Nathan Sharp, and you have a good one.